Ships on vigor of the waves are skimming, barren summits to the verdant plains. Each horizon is a new beginning, rise Eldraine. Far from the fjords and the ice-cold currents, raving soar over new frontiers, songs and sagas of a fate determined.
All right.
Here we go. Episode, what is it, 16 maybe?
16.
Whoever. It's 16.1.
Somewhere in the fucking teens. We got Andy Harrell with us. He's one of those cunts from
What is it?
Blackwater,
Doc
whatever.
Hollywood. Yes.
Doc Hollywood.
We
That's
stomped a
the
lot
most
of fucking
popular
ground
name.
together. Andy, you want to give a quick intro? Because I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this thing. I don't want to fuck around the edges too much. We're on a little bit of a crunch tonight. Joe Crypto.
Quick intro. Was an Army medic in the 90s, 2000. Became a flight medic in the National Guard, 2001, 2002, something like that. Flew Katrina, flew 3 Corps, was in a couple magazines, blah, 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 blah. Iraq as a flight medic, 07, 08, Army, National Guard, active duty, whatever. That was the second time they pulled me out of physician assistant school. Just a little, not bitter or anything.
Doesn't sound bitter at all. Doesn't sound bitter at all.
Not bitter at all for the National Guard on that one. Second time. But anyway, that led me down the contracting path. So let's see, the short version, I was in Iraq 07, 08 with the Army, then 9, 10, 11, Afghanistan 11, 12, 13, 14, Kyrgyzstan, New York thing, 15, 14, 15.
You gotta tell that fucking story. But
we'll get there. Back to Iraq, 2015, 16. And then Juba, South Sudan, 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20. Came back, did Kyrgyzstan 2.0, which I gotta tell you all about that, man. That was something.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to catch up on that.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, because you got some of my best people up there.
You missed the fucking party. Like it was fun before, but we'll get to that. After that, did the Minneapolis thing for about a month, and then got a random call while I was on my buddy's boat to go down to the Caribbean to be a paramedic in a COVID ICU. I get there, management shit. Like it was just a fucking headache. So they sent in the bear to clean house. I met the bear in Iraq or South Sudan 2016. So he puts me in charge of operations as the DPM for the hospital for 2 years.
Nice.
And now here we are. I'm in Indiana at the family house that we're going to sell eventually. Probably next month.
Right on.
Indiana, so you're poor then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
where dreams go to die.
Now, do you have to sleep with your cousins to be there, or is that optional?
that's purely optional.
That's the
No,
I
that's
actually
awesome.
ruptured my ACL the stupidest way possible. You know, five wars
Masturbating from a
4
ceiling
different
fan, bro.
continents,
We've all been there.
and I stepped in a puddle and I fucking ruptured my ACL. I just
No. You stepped in a mud hole trying to impress a lady.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know,
I broke my leg
there's been a lot of wars fought over that very thing, my friend.
Well, Dale, the good news is I just had surgery July 17th. Can't start running for another 2 months, but
Start running.
all right, I'm going to the gym every day.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you finally had surgery because I knew as soon as I did that knee exam that thing needed surgery.
As soon as I got back into Indiana, I had to redo the entire VA process. And thank God they did a community care network. So I went to a local orthopedic surgeon who's done my uncle, my aunt, all their surgeries. He looks at the MRI. He's like, why the fuck haven't you had surgery?
Yeah, when you told me that
This is an
doc
80% tear.
you said the doc down in Florida said that
just didn't want to do it.
Yeah, he didn't want to do the surgery. He said, no, just immobilize it. It'll heal. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I did the knee exam and no
Dude.
fucking way. I was like,
It should not have been like this, just like this.
Yeah.
No,
And
I
was
knew
just like,
I knew the injury and the extent as soon as it happened.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
went from drunk as shit to sober in like half a second.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
That's kind of what I told the cops too, but they didn't buy it.
I know.
I broke my leg a little over a year ago on a lip on a sidewalk about that
Yeah.
big. Rolled my ankle and spiral fractured my fibula.
Yeah, but let's be fair. You need a fucking parachute to get out of a chair.
Damn. Oh.
A lip that big for you, for me, is like 3 feet for you.
Right.
I told
Booger,
these guys
I do have a-
yesterday, man.
You know that I'm so
I went-
dainty.
I went to the store yesterday. I left and went out on the boat and went back to shore and went to the store because my fucking boots were killing me from standing on this deck all day. And I said, one of the good things about having a size 14 shoe, I don't have to trim the fucking insoles. They just slide right in.
Hey, Booger, I do have a question for you.
Cut the fucking edges off, not your
Oh
neck.
yeah.
Hey, Boogs, I got a question for you as the former Marine. With 3 medics, is your butthole puckered 3 times tighter, or is it on an exponential gradient where it's like, much higher?
Don't forget how big these hands are, baby boy.
It's
Shit.
it's
He's
in
gonna
its
pick
natural
me.
lubrication process right now. I have
It's like
I
a
have turned
pheromone.
on
It
like
just
you wouldn't
releases
even believe.
lube.
Moist.
Very moist.
Oh.
A bit swampy in the ball region.
As a medic, I should warn you, swamp ass leads to monkey butt. You might want to get the powder or something for that.
All right.
Yeah.
So we
Wouldn't
I
have to
really-
clean my fingernails as much.
I really wanted to get to the Pony Express. I don't know if there's a good segue to make that happen or not, but
I got
I wanted to talk about it not just because we were both on it, but because it was just so fucking crazy, man.
Oh, yeah.
For me, and I know we talked about this before we started recording, but I'll just mention it real quick. For me, like I didn't know what the fuck I was getting into because when I got asked to leave for Blackwater over that little DEA bastard, I told that story not too long ago. I taught him how to skate on his back, and he invited me to leave window or aisle, and so I was looking for some work, and I blasted out some resumes, and fucking immediately Glenn Witt hits me up, and he's like, "Hey, how fast can you get back to Afghanistan?" And I was like, "How fast can you get me a ticket?" And so I landed, and I didn't even ask. He just said, "I got a mobile contract in Afghanistan, dealing with the U.S. mail. Are you interested?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck it."
That's it.
And that was literally the extent of my digging into it. So I mean, when I got there, I was actually quite surprised, with what we were doing, because it was not only was it extremely dangerous, but it was also extremely I mean, we had just shitty equipment and shitty fucking it was a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
We didn't have fucking ECMs barely. We didn't have fucking, well, we had ECMs. We didn't have fucking comms. We didn't have fucking
ECMs.
Overwatch. I mean, dude, we were out running the roads in
But the
Afghanistan,
ECMs,
getting shot at and blown up with no fucking QRF, no nothing.
the ECMs are a double-edged sword, though, if you're running those with any kind of dispersion, because you can't have calm.
So it was a
So we didn't have them. We had
Yeah.
Motorola radios that kind of worked.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we didn't have decent comms. We didn't have fucking shit.
No.
Bro. I mean, it was a fucking mess.
We're getting into Pony Express right away. So I've been saving this from Scotland. I went backpacking around Scotland for a month.
Now you're making Dale's wiener tingle.
So I got
Weren't you bred on that in a bottle or something, Dale?
Yeah,
Damn.
I was actually born in Dunoon.
Really?
Bless you.
Yep.
I think
Damn,
that's
well-
where Obama was born too, wasn't it? What a birth certificate. One of those.
No, I got this at the Oban Distillery in Oban, Scotland. So, cheers, gentlemen.
Yeah, we get it. You're right. Shut up, keep moving. Anyway,
Well, no. When we talk Pony Express, I gotta have a drink for the guys, man. You know,
That's fair.
we
Well,
it was
I'm
a
doing
whole
fruit
different
punch.
world.
I'm doing fruit punch, so
that's the
Good,
funny
good.
thing.
I don't ever want to go drinking with Looney again. That shit fucking hurt.
you know, you're not the only one that's ever said that.
Do you remember when we went out in New York?
No,
When we
but I have a lot of those experiences that I don't remember.
you tried to get into a fight with two lesbians in a
Well,
little
apparently
bar.
I've tried to
That
kill a
makes
few
one
members of
man.
my team here, so let's not point fingers, okay?
I mean, I had
Everybody
to call
knows
Nate
two lesbians
for an
makes
exfil.
one man.
Nate like pulls up. I'm like dragging you out of the bar, and
And Andy, I don't appreciate being called a lesbian.
aren't you?
Well, I mean, I don't appreciate being called
Technically,
allegedly.
yeah. I mean, they were just a couple girls having a good girls' night, and you win it after your second drink. You went in fighting.
That sounds about right, actually.
I was what 215 pounds. I'm like doing everything to hold you back. I'm like, fuck, this isn't gonna work.
I honestly have no recollection of that.
Oh my god,
I'm pretty sure you're making this up right now just to discredit me, but
I might
let's
be.
keep moving.
All right, Pony
This sounds
Express.
so out of character.
Yeah, Pony Express. I got there November 2011. I was with SOC over in Iraq. I was one of the few non-special guys as the medics. Like I was a flight medic, I was a paramedic, but I know you were one. Dale counts as a special medic because he was doing
Yeah,
all
but
that.
he's special because of the school bus thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
he's special ed.
But you gotta admit there were not very many of us non-special.
We just had that conversation as well.
Yeah. I was the rover medic in Iraq. Brent would just call me up on Skype. The boss would call me up on Skype and like, hey, I need you to go to this secret name base somewhere to fill in for Joe over shock. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, cool. Where's that
Joe
base at?
Overshock,
Like, I
man.
don't know. Good luck.
I remember.
hang up.
I remember.
But yeah, I was with SOC in Iraq for it was just under a year. And they loved me. Like everywhere I went, like I might also be one of the few medics that didn't actually kill a patient or have a patient die on me, which is pretty cool.
I'm not going to say I haven't had a patient die on me, but I don't think I contributed.
On that job.
I don't think I
Allegedly.
contributed.
But anyway, I love that
Well,
job.
Let's define patient.
Yeah.
Keep moving.
At the time, I was
Next
the
question.
medical officer / executive officer down in Qasar, down on the Kuwaiti border. My National Guard unit calls me and is like, you have to quit your job and come home for this deployment to Mosul. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Diamondback's closed. Like, I was there when we were packing up shit, and then I took off to another location. Yeah, so anyway, so I left that summer, 2011, came back to the States, went to my National Guard unit, like, hey, you have to go on this deployment with this whole other unit. We double slotted my flight medic spot that I held for 9 years as possibly the medic with the most combat experience because I was contracting a lot, like nonstop since 09, 08. But they filled it with 2 female nursing students. That's okay. Yeah, get rid of the guy with the experience. I get it. But I showed up to this SRP in Indy, and they're just a whole bunch of fucking dirtbags. I'm like, oh, this is not going to go well. I get into a yelling match with some lieutenant because I have my sunglasses on my head, which I guess in the military is no. I would to verify, I was a great flight medic. I was the shitty sergeant. You know, they don't like it when you question a bad decision that command has made. Like, hey, that's a horrible idea and you might get me killed. How about we do it like this? They really don't like that.
I do remember going drinking. Holy shit. Oh, dude,
you
it
ever
was
have
that
one of
little
those
fucking
grenades, you
bar
pull a
on the
pin,
little
you throw it,
hillside thing there.
but like 5 minutes later, it goes off.
Oh, I fucking remember that now. God, it just hit me. Oh shit, I'm sorry. I think that may be my first senior moment. I think I just
everybody welcome to adult supervision required.
Yeah,
I think I just had my first senior moment
with explosions, and actually that should be the intro right there. Oh fuck, I just remembered.
I'm not big in Wyoming.
Marquee, yeah.
I want you to clip that for a short later.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's funny, since I quit drinking, how many times we'll be out and somebody will come up and talk to us, and I look at Iris afterwards. I'm like, "Who was that?" And she's like, "You've hung out with." I'm like, 10 times. I'm like, I was drunk.
To be fair, we all have a lot of TBI going on.
So
I was told mine's mild.
I mean, Dale more than us, but yeah.
Let's
anyway, so
gloss over the whole.
Yeah, let me get back on track here. Anyway, life's not so good back then. You know, the girlfriend and I are on the ends. I'm going from National Guard unit trying to find. They canceled the deployment 2 weeks after I quit SOC in Iraq, of course. But yeah, it was a couple months of fuck. And then all of a sudden, Glenn calls me out of the blue in November, and it's like, "Hey, the man actually like explained everything to me. It's like, hey, we just lost 9 guys, and 2 of our medics are resigning. Andy, I'll be straight with you, and I love Glenn, absolutely love him, but he's like, I'll be straight with you. Your comms suck. You don't have jammers, and we have about Phil Gonzalez said that there's like a 30% mortality rate for us. Are you interested?" I'm like, "Yeah, send me a ticket tomorrow. Well, in 3 days. Give me 3 days." So he sent me a ticket. I went into my old commanders. I did all the paperwork, went into my old National Guard commander. I'm like, "You can sign this. It's an honorable discharge, compassionate discharge, because you made me quit my job and now I don't have a job. You know, blah, blah, blah." He happily signed it. And I'm smiling because right behind him, his desk is a picture of me doing a rescue that I was in a couple of newspapers and magazines for. And I'm like, "All right, thank you, sir." 3 days later, I land in Kabul. They didn't even send me to Minden. I just land in Kabul. The only instruction I had was try to find the blue truck. So I'm just wandering around. I'm like, I got a backpack. What the fuck?
And Kabul Airport's a fucking clusterfuck for anybody that's never been there.
Yeah, and I don't care what company you're with. You could be with the most stellar company on planet Earth, but Kabul, that is about the directions you're going to get from every fucking company.
Yeah. Just walk around the parking lots until you see a blue gun truck.
I actually got lucky. I had a badass facilitator there that he was in from like Panjshir Valley area up there, like Masood's folks and all of that. So he knew a lot of the cops there at the airport. So we were in and out of customs. Like me bringing in booze was no issue.
Right.
Like he'd grab my bags from the cops and be like, "He's with me."
Look anything like that?
Yeah. Shit. That's
definitely the
Why the fuck is the driver out of the truck?
Yeah, so for everybody that doesn't know, it was dubbed.
That wasn't front, was it?
The Pony Express. Excuse me.
Yeah,
that wasn't Matt standing outside the driver's door, was it?
I honestly don't remember. I just glanced at it for a second. I hadn't been in that file in a long time. But for the people that are uninitiated in this, the Pony Express was just just what we called it, because it was literally, there were a lot of facilities that did not have either the appropriate, let's just say, air assets or the appropriate ways of getting things to and fro. So we did a lot of that. And then we even delivered mail to a lot of places that did. And I never quite understood some of that. But basically what would happen is they would collect the outgoing mail in a Connex at a fob. And then we would show up, drop off the incoming, pick up the outgoing, take the outgoing back. It would hit Bagram through a series of events. And then we'd take the outgoing to Bagram to go out and pick up more incoming that would get distributed across about 3 different routes that we had.
Right.
We had the ring route, which pretty much ran, you know, Eggers, Kia, the fucking embassy, all that shit. So you pretty much stayed inside the ring of steel.
Yeah.
And then we had fucking J-Bad, we had Ghazni, we had Gardez, we had that fucking Polish camp. What was that one down the black route?
Ghazni.
Remember what?
Ghazni.
No, Ghazni wasn't the one that was the Polish camp. Ghazni was the one that was down there before you go to Gardez. It was all
Yeah.
You get to the pass, but there was one more that was down that way. I can't fucking remember. The one that was
no.
so
Well,
nasty.
There were 4 teams. One team was on holiday.
Right.
One team, like you said. So every week you rotate. And it was a great rotation, which means you only drove to Ghazni like twice a month, maybe.
Yeah.
Once a month sometimes. But yeah, you had ring route. So we'll just simplify it. Team 4, my team's on vacation for 30 days. We're all fucking off. So team 1 would have ring route. Go to Phoenix, Eggers, NKC, Kia, you know, and sometimes we'd split the team. So I would take some trucks by myself. My team lead would take trucks the other way. Team 2 would Tuesdays, Thursdays, and I could say all these dates because we're not in Afghanistan anymore because we lost. I mean, we're not there anymore. Yeah, no bitterness there.
No.
We had the Bagram, which to me was my favorite.
Yeah, that would be team 2, and again, that I'm just using the team numbers as for simplicity's sakes. The second team would do Bagram Tuesdays or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then Jalalabad. Like in the morning, you go to Bagram, you take all the outgoing mail, you take all the incoming mail for everybody. So, I mean, there were times when I did it by myself, like by myself in my up armored truck, the only fucking person, because if there was something else going on or like somebody got hit, everybody else would push out and I'd be like, hey, I'll just run the team by myself.
At that time, Bagram Road was pretty fucking safe at that time. It had been repaved. It was a fucking cakewalk.
I used to go to Bagram just for lunch.
Yeah, they had the smoke shack
in a soft skin, like by myself. Like,
yeah, we used to run up there all the time. Basically, you'd take whatever 6 fucking trucks, just Connex trucks.
6 40-foot.
You'd run them up there. You'd take them to the flight line. They'd offload those Connexes, sort that shit, and they'd give you the new mail. You'd take it from Bagram back to Kabul, and then it would get split up there for the other routes.
Right. So you have the ring route. You have the Bagram. The Bagram run would also do the Jalalabad run from Kabul to Jalalabad and back.
If the route was open.
Do what?
Oh no, you push anyway.
See, we'd always end up, and maybe it was just because we didn't have that authority, but anytime we were trying to go to J-Bad from Kabul, we'd end up in that fucking queue waiting to get through the checkpoint just right outside of Kabul.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, the customs checkpoint. The trick is to give them gum. If you give them chewing gum, you're good. You get right through.
Yeah, we always pushed through to Bagram. The bitch of Bagram was you got to Bagram at what, fucking midnight? And then by the time they got you loaded and shit, you were coming back and hitting the pass, coming up the mountain at fucking like 2 a.m. and you're sitting in that queue. So, Andy, to tell you, bro, this is true, man. We would dismount at the base of that goddamn mountain and we would
So many
walk that motherfucker
so
all
many
the way to
times.
the top, moving cars to get our convoy through.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was sketchy as fuck, bro.
But
I mean,
the-
it was fucking straight up
I
crazy
was,
shit.
I was running around in one of those, it was an unarmored Toyota minivan. So we were running low pro, so we just sat in the queue. I mean, there were some times where I put the blue Birkin on with my fucking AK underneath.
Oh, I want to see that.
Because, yeah. Actually, it's some big. I lost the hard drive, but we'd do that because they wouldn't search the females, if they pulled you over and we had a local driver. We just sit back there like it was a fucking taxi, and because we had a little taxi sign up on the roof. They'd open up the door, see some burkas, and
you say Durka Muhammad Jihad.
yeah.
So I told
It's
this
neat.
story, Andy, not too long ago, and I know we kind of discussed it, but I think the first time, because you do this shit so much that it doesn't seem strange anymore, and you guys know what I'm talking.
Oh yeah.
Some of the shit
Man,
y'all did, we just do this fucking crazy shit to the point where it's so routine. But we were dismounted one day and we were coming up, and Big Army had gotten stuck in that fucking queue on the southbound side coming out of Kabul. And we were trying to go up, and they were sitting in our fucking way. And so as we round this curve and come up through all these vehicles, now again, imagine there's vehicles stuck going down, there's vehicles stuck going up, and we're trying to force between them, moving them to each side so we can squeeze our convoy through. And we come up through there, and there's Big Army sitting there in a fucking Max Pros. And so I walk up and I bang on the fucking door, and they crack the seal, and their sergeant leans out, and he's like, "What the fuck are y'all doing out here?"
Oh yeah.
At this point, he can't see our vehicles. All he sees is 4 or 5 dudes dressed like fucking Call of Duty walking out of the goddamn darkness into his headlights.
Yeah.
And I started laughing so hard because I thought, what must he be thinking right about now? You know what I mean? What the fuck are y'all doing out here walking up the fucking mountain? Are you crazy?
Oh yeah.
That's why Big Army always thought we were fucking CIA and stupid shit.
Oh my god. Yeah.
I bet one of those guys is still telling that story to this day, man. You wouldn't believe it, dude. There we were.
Holy shit! One of my favorites. So get back. Team 3, or the third team, had the Shank, Gardez, and Ghazni run. Shank. Oh god, fucking Shank. Anyway,
I was fucked up on it when you said Ghazni a few minutes ago. I was fucked up. I was thinking Shank.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So many. Shank.
I remember going into J2 at Ghazni one time and asking him what the route was like, and he looked at me and he said, "It's black." I was like, "Yeah, but have you had anything going on in that area? We're going that way."
Yeah.
And he's like, "You can't
But
go."
it's black.
Go. I'm like, well,
Yeah,
I'm going.
we just had that talk, and he was like trying to tell me, "Dude, you can't do that." And I'm like, "Look, you're not listening, bro. We're going that way. I'm just trying to see if anything had happened." And he kept saying, "But you can't go that way. It's black." I was like,
Well, I'm going that way.
Really not listening.
I've had the same exact conversation.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You can't go. It's the roads are black. You can't go." I'm like, "Well, I'm going."
Yeah.
So
I get it. You made it black.
You give me a heads up if where to look for something, but
we got hemmed up at Bagram one night.
we're going regardless.
We got
It's been triple stamped. It's been triple stamped.
We got hemmed up at Bagram one night, Andy, because you know how it was. You get there, you're the only fucking expat. I'm the only one with all the flight line shit. So I take the trucks in on the flight line. So my TCNs, which were Bosnians and shit, they're like, "Hey, can we go ahead and hit the PX? Do you mind?" I'm like, "Nah, go ahead."
I'm listening. I'm just listening over here.
So I didn't think about the fact that they're TCNs and they're supposed to be escorted, right? So here I am trying to leave the fucking flight line. I can't find my trucks. I can't get them on comms. I can't figure out what the fuck is going on. And I finally I finally get a hold of them, and it's the fucking MPs or the SFs, security forces for the airbase.
Yeah.
And they come out there, man, and they are shitting the bricks. They're like, "Dude, motherfucker, da da da." And I was like, "Whoa, calm down, hero." Like, dude, they just wanted to go and fucking buy some goddamn sodas at the PX. And I didn't escort them to the fucking PX because I was on the flight line, and they shit the fucking bed, bro.
Oh, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
and we got booted in Jalalabad at the fucking sandwich shop one night. Came out with a goddamn no shit parking boot on a fucking gun truck sitting in front of the goddamn sandwich shop. I
I know
shit you not.
exactly
A
what
fucking
you're
F-550 gun truck with fucking forward and rear, and they
Yeah.
booted the motherfucker at the sandwich shop.
Hey, John. Hey, John, got a question for you. I bet, though, when you were dealing with that MP, you didn't act like a fucking total tool like a guy named Jim Dobar and tell the fucking Air Force cat to go pound sand, did you?
I'm not
No,
sure
there it is.
what transpired, but they took the boot off. I have a sneaky suspicion it was kind of like that speeding ticket we had in Kandahar, my friend.
You looked at somebody else and said, "Talk to my boss."
The guy in Kandahar was like, "What would your superiors think?" And I was like, "There he is, fucking ask him."
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, "Look here, motherfucker. If you want to give me a ticket, but don't think I'm going to sit here and listen to a fucking lecture from the likes of you or something." I don't even remember.
Yeah. Holy shit.
They were tool bags though, but so was Jim Dobar. He deserved.
He didn't want to go drinking with me either, Andy.
No, I wasn't drinking with you just because I wanted to know.
Yeah,
Because I heard the stories. I'm like,
it was just as fucking horrible as you thought it was going to be.
worse. I'm not a small guy, but you're kind of hard to carry when you're unconscious.
Listen, there is no good ending to drinking with John.
No, none.
Well, now
I
let's
just
be
have to
fair.
see it for myself.
If we are trapped in a room, and let's say there's 10 bikers outside just going to kill us, and the
I'm
only
good.
defense
Gosh.
we have is a bottle of
Get
Jack
you-
Daniels.
In case of emergency, break glass.
You know?
Okay, but John, the
Same for me.
thing is, you're going to beat our asses first, and then you're going to go after the bikers.
You know
But
what?
we will make it out of this together.
Win.
Dale. I'll leave no man behind.
I'm with you on that one though. If in case of glass, get me liquored up, or in case of emergency, break glass, get me liquored up, because yeah.
Oh, I'm
You'll go
coming.
spider monkey on him.
Oh well.
Am I the only happy drunk here?
Oh,
I don't think I was.
I was an unpredictable drunk. That was
Yeah, I
my
wouldn't
issue.
describe my
Oh,
condition
you-
as sadness.
Okay. So you're Charlie Day, and then the rest of us are Dennis.
Pretty much, yeah.
I'm Aristotle.
Always
drunk.
Sunny in Philadelphia. There's a good reference. You're
just
Charlie
say that
Day.
my-
The rest of us are Dennis.
Dale is the guy in Young Guns when he's like, "She's my flower."
Yes.
my last drunken interaction with law enforcement, it took 6 of them to get me off of my front door and through the doorway. I was like a fucking cat getting in a bathtub. So,
Well,
they finally
and
got me out.
you know, I just told you the story almost of the. I just told you guys the story the other day about the thing when I got run off of Blackwater. But there was drinking involved in that night when I taught that.
No.
Well,
No,
let me tell you
of course
something.
not.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he said, "I wish I knew how to skate on my back across the room." And I said, "Dear
That's what
sir,
I heard.
allow me to aid you."
Let me oblige.
So I obliged.
Here's your first lesson.
Yes.
So you were
free of charge.
Dear sir, this is not how you avoid a punch. So yeah, the Pony Express, man, was straight up fucking.
Oh
I'm
man,
telling you, man, I was so far in over my head before I realized how far in over my head I was, that it was just fucking. I mean, it was sketchy as fuck, bro. Like no shit.
yeah.
Straight up
absolutely.
fucking crazy.
Pretty much.
They sent me the
Pretty
contract.
much any of. Go ahead.
Well, they sent me the contract for me to sign, do all the paperwork, and I'm reading through it because you should always read through every single fucking contract, even no matter how boring it is, read it.
I never read a single one.
But it was highlighted and underlined and bold, ultra hazardous. And I was at,
I believe that.
And I was at a low point in my life. I'm like, you know what? I need a adrenaline rush. I need something. But more than that, it was more of a survivor syndrome thing.
Yeah.
As a flight medic in the Army and paramedic and all the other bullshit I've done, you lose people. You lose people that you feel like should not die. And, you know, at some point in time, you look at yourself and you're like, why did they die? And I'm doing all this stupid shit and I'm not dying. You know, it's just, it fucks with you a little bit. It really does. And that was the main reason why I took the job. It was all these guys, all these younger guys are taking these jobs or being deployed, and they're dying over stupid shit. And I could tell you missions and all the other medevacs and shit I did in Iraq, you know, with the Army as a flight medic. But it's just like, it gets to you, you know. And it's like, and also at that time, like, I'd never fired rounds downrange. I've been in some situations where I should have, you know,
So,
but
and for
I would have
context,
died from it. I 100% wouldn't have been smoked from it when they sent me to a location where the asset was shot, not where the asset was. That was fun. But I did the Pony Express because I felt like, and I don't recommend this to anyone, but I felt like it was a rite of passage. You know, like, I've been contracting, I've done a couple cool jobs. I got the tabs or the t-shirts, you know, but I hadn't proved myself fighting the bad guys. And sure enough, like, the first 2 months I was there, little toe popper IED goes off under me and cracked my head on the window. And after that, I started wearing a seatbelt. But we got into my very first firefight on the way down to Gaza. This is like a month, 2 months in the winter, like just November, December, January 2012. I'm like, all right, this is where I need to be. And I kept my teammates alive. I kept myself alive. I made other bad guys expired. After
not repeat offenders.
Yeah, not what? Actually, it was a repeat offender. They killed one of my friends the week before, and
No,
then
but you made sure they weren't.
Right,
oh
I was
yeah,
gonna say,
oh
yeah.
yeah.
I heard
To
a
me-
guy's feelings once.
The jobs like that, the Wild West jobs, which are almost all gone. I broke it down to be very simple. Stay alive. Keep the client, the principal, your teammates alive. Make bad guys unalive. All right, three things. Stay alive, keep the good guys alive, make the bad guys unalive. Simple. You keep it as simple as that, every day it was fine. You know, it never bothered me what we were doing out there.
Oh, there it is.
But we were doing some crazy shit. You know, like you said earlier, the military would try to stop you at a checkpoint or an exit and say, the roads are black, you can't go. It's like, the mail must go through. That's a quote from the Pony Express, 1865. The mail must go through. But it wasn't just the mail all the time, you know that. But just do the job, stay alive, keep everyone else alive. And I felt like after 16 months, I accomplished it. Like, I finally didn't get over my survivor syndrome, but it helped. It helped a lot. Now, was it dangerous? Fuck yeah, it was dangerous. Was it stupid? Absolutely. Did we get the job done? We did. 100% we got the job done. And it helped me grow as a person, and that really took off on my contracting career. Just because if you know, you know, and a lot of people I've talked to that, you know, we're all old guys in the industry, in the contracting industry. We are the old guys now. You know, all of us, when we first went in contracting, the Vietnam and the First Gulf War, those were the old guys. We're the old guys now.
Yeah.
So I'll show up to a contract and, like I went down to Basra and our good friend Kevin was the project manager down there in 2015. And I worked with Kevin in GIS, New York. He's like, all right, Andy, welcome on board. You're the lead medic now because I know what you've done. I know where you've been. And it's good and it's bad. It's good that a lot of these jobs aren't there anymore. It's real hard to find those jobs. But I selfishly, I felt like I had to do the Pony Express to find my own way. Now, did it scar me? A little bit. Did I make some lifelong brothers? Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a huge part of it. And we have our own community, our own network, and we talk to each other. And, Ed Ford and Alan Chaseson wrote that book, and I'm reading through it. I'm like, oh shit, I remember this. I remember Jiko's story. I remember, all of it. Yeah, please support the guys, man. Go out and get the book. It's like $12 or something like that.
Postcard Through Hell.
$19.
Yeah.
I'd love to lend it out, but it's better you go buy the book.
For sure.
So yeah, this
We'll
whole
put a link for it.
book is about the Pony Express. So if anybody wants to check it out, this is the book based on that mission set, on that tempo, that op tempo that we had.
Yeah.
Dude, I think
Interesting.
John, when you start reading that, you're
Okay.
going to be like me, man. You're going to read a couple chapters, be like, all right, I need to put this down for a little while. And you'll come back to it a month later, just because reading it, you remember those missions, the guys on those missions, and the places you've been. And you're like,
I don't know if I want to read it.
well, you should. I mean, Ed and Alan did an amazing job putting it together. It's not super gory or anything like that, but it's explaining what we did on that mission. And it gives a whole different perspective. Now, he left out a lot of the fights, which is probably a good thing. Some of the cultural things that we've witnessed that were horrible. And sometimes we could do something about it. Sometimes we couldn't. It's just, it's a good read.
A question that I have for both, Looney and, Andy here is that when it came to comparatively some of your other contracts and for you, Andy, your military time, as far as some of the, underbelly, some of the bad stuff that you see, and, John, I guess, since you were in the military, some of the stuff you saw as a paramedic, would you say that some of the stuff you saw doing the Pony Express missions was some of the worst that you saw compared to some of the other stuff, or?
I don't know. For me, it's hard to say because, I told you guys about doing that felony stop on Bagram Road and putting bodies in the cabs. We got hit in Kabul, right outside the fucking ECP when we were at Gandamak 2. And there were bodies all over the fucking ground. And, I remember that was Christmas morning. I think that was 2013, Christmas morning. And I was out there in flannel jammies and my Crocs, with no fucking top on, just rocking the goddamn rig. And, and there was, I remember that Air Force kid was in the vehicle and I remember pulling him out. I remember hollering at somebody. I don't even remember who all was there and saying, get somebody else over here. And the medic that came was that short Brit guy. And I can't remember his fucking name. He was on Alpha teams with us. And, I mean, we're in the fucking ditch dealing with that and all the shit that's going on and fucking Hodge is coming in. I mean, it was just like, I don't know how and then you take that with, I remember one time as a civilian medic, I remember having 13 bodies on the ground and me being the only fucking medic. and having to decide who was going to die. You know what I mean? And yeah, you could say, well, no, I was trying to decide who's going to live. But I remember walking up to a cat with some nurse lady sitting there. And I remember she was saying, oh, I need some help. And I knelt down and the guy was already doing agonal respirations. And I literally got up and picked up my bag and moved on. And she's like, where are you going? You're not going to help him? And I'm like, I can't help him. And I walked away. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you put a fucking label. I don't know how you gauge that shit. But to answer your question, I think that some of the shit was right up there with it for sure. You know what I mean? But man, when I look back, I don't know. I don't like this part.
Yeah, this is.
Well, and most of the attacks that happened, I mean, they were complex attacks, you know, by definition, because they weren't just small arms attacks on you guys, though, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, some of them were, man. I've got pictures of my windshield shot to fuck.
Oh, yeah.
You know, when you're just running through the village,
yeah,
ding, 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 ding. You know,
shot,
like,
but
you know,
predominantly it was IED or VBID that, you know,
followed up.
initially. Yeah, and then followed up with, you know, a bunch of bad guys that are armed with what the fuck ever. You know, which that wasn't a very common tactic in Iraq. You know, the complex attacks were, you know, there for a while, a lot more few and far between. It was just the IEDs, you know, whereas there in Afghanistan, you guys were dealing a lot more, you know, with the IEDs and then the follow on with the dudes up in the hills or whatever vantage point they had taken.
Biggest problem we had on the Pony Express was them do the IEDs.
Yeah,
IEDs and a guy right down the street with an RPG. Just wait.
Because dude, they didn't know in Iraq. It was different. They didn't in Afghanistan. They didn't know how to weigh and measure or something. I don't know. They stuffed as much fucking shit in those culverts as they could get.
Well, they got.
I mean, it was a goddamn nuke going off sometimes. You know, it was just you'd go down through there, man, and the whole fucking road's missing for what seemed like a half a fucking mile. You know what I mean? I got those pictures and shit from that one day, which I'm not gonna put it on here, but if you want to wait afterward, I'll show it to you, Andy. But you know, we were talking about that the other day. Just some of the man, it's just I don't know, man. I don't know, Dale. I don't know I don't know, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we survived it. For our brothers that didn't, I mean, I drink for them. You know, I toast them, I cheers them. You know, I think about them. But I mean, that's the game. That's the job. Save who you can. As a medic, the hardest thing I've had to learn, and I'm sure this is the same for you, John, and the same for you, Dale, and any medic watching this, the hardest lesson I had to learn, and I'd been a medic since '96, Army medic, and then anyway, you can't save everyone.
Sure.
That's the hardest lesson I've ever had to learn. Because we're caretakers. We want to save everybody. We want to ease the pain of everybody. But there comes a point, especially in a Mascal, that you have to learn. You know, and it's not an easy learn. It's the hard way, which is the best way to learn is the hard way. You can't save everyone.
Well, because that's not a standard triage, because then you're having a triage on, okay, what can I accomplish by myself? Who's got the best chances? And, you know, if it was a one-on-one, it'd be a different thing. But when you're dealing with that
one-on-one
volume.
Yeah, but I think
mean, even then, like I've only known like 3 paramedics that have saved a trauma code.
And that's what I was about to say.
With the flight medic I flew with, and he saved a trauma code. The guy he was missing 2 legs and an arm. And Steve got that guy back. And it's like, holy shit. Like, total respect. You're an asshole. I love you, but total respect.
I've only had a couple of people. I mean, I've had people that I felt like I intervened, and I've had people that I felt like I did some good for, blah, blah, blah. But truly saving somebody and utilizing the definition of them, like say like leaving the hospital, resuming normal function. That's the hardest lesson to me, is how futile we are. And
Yeah.
we get taught that we can make a difference, but the reality is we're giving the family hope. But there's only been, and I've been a medic since '95, and I've run, I don't know how many fucking codes I've run. Trauma. I mean, I don't know. Fuck, man. Somebody asked me today.
Somewhere in the hundreds.
I don't even
Easily
fucking know. I
somewhere.
mean, I wouldn't know how to count, but like I've had maybe I can think of two. Maybe there's one more. I'm not sure. Maybe, you know what I mean? But I know for sure two people that were full cardiac arrest that I've actually seen leave the hospital.
Yeah.
And they were just in the right fucking place at the right fucking time.
I would say so
Well,
much of that's just split second timing.
It
you know,
is, dude. It's got to be just
It's-
absolutely perfect. Everything has
It's
to
Yeah,
line
there-
up.
butterfly effect. It's a universal vibes.
the Mamba
situation.
team got hit on biop, and one of the dudes ended up with a crushed larynx, and it
could work.
was an 18 Delta medic, and he ended up, intubating him just before his airway completely sealed
Yeah.
up.
Dude,
Well,
we've
Yeah,
all
you're
done,
you're when
I've done fucking
all just
crikes.
that
I've done
time.
fucking chest tubes. I mean, I don't know. Goddamn, I've done everything I can fucking think of. I don't, you know what I mean? I've done it, but
Sure.
I mean, it's gotta be absolutely fucking trauma codes. Like he said, dude, trauma codes, you code from trauma, your heart stops from trauma. I ain't
Yeah.
getting
Yeah,
it back. God has to reach down and touch you himself.
well, and just real quick to kind of circle back, of course, I'm not asking to make you guys relive some kind of pain, but
No, you're fine. You're fine, brother.
the reason why I'm asking is because what a lot of people don't understand, is that, there's a lot of shit that the military sees for sure. And a lot of the reason why it's so traumatizing for guys in the military, because one, it's a young mind most of the time.
Yes.
You got a fresh mind that doesn't even know how to grapple with a lot of this shit. But what a lot of people don't understand is that there's a lot of technically civilians that are out
100%.
there in serious harm's way with no support. And
Zero.
you guys on the Pony Express, you couldn't call for air assets. You had no fucking big army backup. Like even on most of the contracts I was on with State Department, with Blackwater, with shit with Global, we had some kind of backup for most of the time, unless we were too close to the Pakistan border. We had,
whether you realize it or not, you had a drone watching you.
right. So, and we would have to even call battle space commanders to let them know, hey, we're traveling through here, blah, blah, blah. And they could track us on, what was that called? Falcon View,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is people listening to this, you're hearing about the Pony Express, and this is part of the reason why John wanted to talk about it, and this is why you're talking about it, Andy. And the reason why we're talking about this book, Postcards from Hell, and why it's kind of significant, because it really does stand out as a unique contract in how harrowing it can be when there is no support. You're civilians out there with your ball sack on the line, and when it's just you and the boys, and you're dealing with an entity like the Taliban and what they're willing to do and sacrifice for their beliefs and cause, and what you're going to have to do in kind. It's a very different perspective that you're listening to right now. And that's why I asked you guys this, because I wanted you to kind of paint that.
I'll say this. I'll say this. Phil Gonzalez, old 18 Delta, solid fucking dude, man. Just a real fucking gem of a guy. I mean, he's just the greatest soul. I loved him to death.
Side note, Phil was Brent's boss or team leader in Vietnam.
But Phil kept numbers, kept statistics, and Phil kept all the data.
Yeah.
According to Phil, that contract had a 30% KIA and WIE on it.
Mhm.
And that's a staggering fucking number.
Yeah.
By anyone's fucking standard. I mean, it was straight up goddamn crazy shit, dude.
Mhm.
But you know, at the end of the day, I know we're starting to push the time envelope here.
Yeah, I got about 5.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I
Damn,
don't,
I guess.
you know, hey man, I don't know. In my mind, like I think like
It was something else, man.
yeah, it was.
I'll say
Yeah.
this. It was fall of 2009, I believe, when I got called first by, I believe it was Don Rector or Chris Rector. I can't remember which Rector it was.
Chris, right?
Don was with
Yeah.
us at Blackwater. Chris was the brother.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Chris, he called me up. I was working somewhere in Diwania, taking care of Ugandans as their medic. And he's like, "Hey man, got this contract." He tells me all about it. Well, he tells me
2010.
no, it was still late 2009 because I took a contract for Global in February 2010.
All right, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So it was still late 2009 when I got the call. They were getting ready to stand it up. And yeah. So I got the call, and he's like, "Hey man, we're getting ready to do this contract over in Afghanistan, blah blah blah." And I said, "Okay, I got a couple questions." I said, "What's the equipment?" He says, "Well, it's going to be this, and this." I'm like, "Okay." I said, "Who's the client?" He says, "I can't tell you that." And I'm like, "Okay." And I said, "All right, well, what's the pay?" And he told me the pay. And I said, "Well, I'm already getting that pay, so you're going to have to come back with something better than that." And he goes, "Well, that's the pay." And I said, "Well, sorry, I'm already getting that." And so, no, I'm passing. And he goes, "Okay." So then Glenn Witt calls me up a couple hours later. He's like, "Hey, dude, we could really use you on this contract." And I said, "Okay, cool. I want, at least $2,000 more a month." And he goes, "Well, you ought to be lucky that we're offering this." I said, "Why should I be all lucky that you're offering me that? I mean, I'm already getting that."
Right.
And he goes, "Oh." And he goes, "That's right. You're like one of the last medics to be getting that in country." And I said, "Yeah, Glenn, I am." I said, I think I kind of earned it too. So he's like, "Uh-huh." And I'm like, "So, I said, I'm in a position where, I've got the experience. What you guys are asking for is kind of sketchy. And so I want $2,000 more a month for that kind of pay for what you're asking for." And I
So the
said,
grand scheme of things isn't a lot.
"No, it's not." And I said, "It sounds sketchy as fuck."
I think
So I could tell.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
So I could tell you way back when they were talking about standing that fucking thing up, I already saw the writing on the wall. I was like, holy shit. But I also knew that me articulating that I was already getting that pay and they were about to put mobile medics out there in Afghanistan.
Yeah, I mean that's a easy choice. Very easy choice, especially with the family and all of that.
Oh yeah.
I think when they called me, they'd run out of decent people and they were left with you know what I mean? They were at the bottom of the fucking barrel. They were at the bottom of the barrel and they were like, "We got this guy and we've got this guy, and this guy's got one arm. Well, let's go with Looney then."
And I can tell you,
stuck to your shoe. Oh, it's a resume.
I also knew it was time to start looking for work because I knew that they were going to start cutting my pay.
They did try that.
Well, no, they were going to cut the static pay because it was going to be and that was when they told me, "Well, we're going to get Alan Chase on." And I said, "Hey man, he's a good medic.
He's a great
great
guy, great medic."
Yeah, I said, I mean, I would choose him if I was going to pick a guy for a team. So yeah, fucking, absolutely great guy. So fucking, I mean, yeah, solid motherfucker. He had a great reputation for a long time with SOC at that point.
About buttholes. I still don't understand that.
What?
It always has to go to the starfish with you, John. I mean, I don't know.
Every time.
Hey, some people make paintings, some people play music.
That's how that's how that fight started in your room, John. You know, you were drinking. Next thing you know, you said something about my butthole, and I had to wrestle to get the fuck out of there, or you were going to shoot me.
Hey,
You know, I really can't even argue that point, really. So, hey, listen, we got to wrap this up because I know we're on our time crunch tonight. But Andy,
I got a story.
Go ahead.
All right, I know we're on time crunch. Booger's got to leave. We had a mission. It was a Tuesday. Kabul to Shank, Shank to Kabul. Switch trucks. Try to catch something to eat. Kabul to Ghazni, Ghazni and back. That's a 24-hour mission. You're awake. Anyway, so I might have had something the night before, as tradition, when you're doing the Ghazni run. And so my alarm goes off. I get up. I'm slow moving, and I come outside. The team lead, brother Mark, South African. Oh my God, I love Mark. Mark Krause. He won't mind me saying his name. Amazing dude, South African, just fuck it. Bane. He is Bane from all the Batman comics. The comics, not the movie, but the comics. Anyway, he's like, we gotta go, go. I'm like, Mark, give me 5 minutes to make a pot of coffee. No, we push now. I'm like, no, you're not leaving without me because I'm in your front vehicle. I'm the rabbit. I need coffee. I'll always make time to make coffee. I took 5 minutes, 10 minutes to make a pot of coffee, filled my little cup, and we left. We get out of Kabul. We're heading down towards Shank, and an ANA, Afghan National Army, convoy got hit bad, real bad. They hit the front vehicle and it flipped over and went 20 meters. There was blood streaks on the road. It was bad. If I had not stopped to make coffee, that would have been me. Because we would have gone around that convoy, and we knew that we had intel that they were looking for us. They saw an easy target and hit the ANA instead. I knew it. Everybody knew it. I've got a couple pictures from it. And it's actually my screensaver on my iPad. So every time I turn on my iPad, I'm reminded, don't rush. Take that 5 minutes. Think about what you're doing. Collect yourself.
More times than we didn't.
Dude, I was a white cloud, man. I'm always a white cloud.
Yep.
I just get lucky. Thank God I got that.
2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Oh yeah.
If I'd been moving 2 seconds faster, if I hadn't stopped just to grab something quick off my dresser, I would have caught this right in my head.
I think that's part of the trauma. I don't want to keep going because I know we're pushing, Bug. Let me end with this. I think that that's part of what we don't understand a lot of times when people pass and when people get hit and when people die. You know, I remember when Max got hit, you know, they were just going to pick up the mail. Something we did all the time. RPG in the door. You know, why? Right. You know what I mean? Like last week it didn't happen. This week it did happen. And that was the tough part about that gig and about all the gigs actually, is that you were literally, no matter how good you prepared, no matter how good you were, no matter what the intel or the equipment, you literally were rolling the fucking dice every single time. And so when people ask why we drank so much and why we partied so hard and when we lived on the fucking edge, it was because we knew we could die any fucking second. You know what I mean? The next one was the only one. And you know, hey man, I don't know, we made it, but Andy, I appreciate you coming, brother.
Hey, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to do a PTSD or a medical or whatever later, let me know. But
It sounds a little bit accusatory, to be honest with you.
oh yeah, none of us have PTSD.
I'm starting to feel
Yeah,
a
not
little
at all.
pressured here, man.
None of us have demons in the closet or anything.
Every time you
Right.
think you got them under control, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, recognize that they're there and just
Yep.
control it.
Have a good night, guys. Thanks.
I
You
say
too,
thank
guys.
See y'all.